rather cold day, and I know we got some more snow coming, so this could be like our little party before the storm, right? But I want to also dedicate my monologue to all of you tonight. Whether you know it or not, like, you're our allies, and we need you right now because our community is in danger. A lot of people don't realize that, like the attacks that the immigrant community goes through, especially if you're brown color, like someone commits a crime somewhere and we all get blamed for it. So we really need you to hold our stories and take them home and share them with your family, with your friends, and just spread the love, so we can change the narrative. So thank you for being here tonight. So yes. Better? Oh, yes. Okay, now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah. So I want to share a story with you from when I was a much smaller Armando. Yes, my name is Armando Peniche. When I was 12 years old, on my way home from school. But first, I want to give you a little bit of context. See, like many Latino families, my family is huge. But unfortunately, I never get to see most of them because they're on the other side of the U.S. border with Mexico. My family here in the U.S., I could count on my fingers. I have my dad, a couple sisters, and my brother, an uncle. But thankfully, I've always had wonderful friends who I see as family. And that's why when I was in the 7th grade, and my dad decided to move us to a different neighborhood, I chose to remain in the same school so I could stay with my old friends. This may sound fun and all, sitting next to my crush in math class, hanging out with my friends at recess, but it made for my trip to school to be a long one. But I had my routine down. Wake up 5:30 in the morning, get ready, catch the first bus, 6:15 in the morning, arrive at the second bus stop at 6:45, and hope I didn't have to chase after it. If I made it to the corner of Kentucky and Federal by 7:15, then I could take a deep breath. Then I was good. This meant I had time to stop at the convenience store, grab a cup of hot cocoa, maybe even play a few arcade games before going in. Talk about a warm-up. I'm winning against hordes of zombies before starting my school day. Yep. No pop quiz was ever bigger than that. After school, on nice days, I would skip the second bus and just walk. My dad would still be at work and my sister had after-school activities, so I was in no rush to get to an empty house. On my way home, I would use the concrete dividers on the sidewalk as measures. I would take this time to practice my music lessons for cello, so each step was a beat. So I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. For longer sections, I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And short sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had my teacher in my head the whole time telling me, "Come on, Armando, stay on the beat, stay on the beat." So one day, I'm happily counting along, looking down at my concrete measures, when all of a sudden I see blue and red lights flashing on the sidewalk, and I hear an angry voice yelling, "Stop! Freeze!" I was so confused. I may fight video game zombies, but I was just a kid, barely old enough to sit in the front seat of a car, and here are 2 cops coming at me with hands on their guns. I was freaking out. My mind was going through a mess of different emotions because as an undocumented person, the last thing you want to do, the very, very, very last thing you want to do is get into trouble. Even a simple traffic violation could lead to deportation. So I'm thinking, what did I do? What could it have been? Did I forget to pay the bus driver? No way. I remember paying David. He gave me a bus transfer. And he would never call the cops on me even if I did forget. So the cops are yelling at me to turn around and put my hands up. I'm still struggling to understand what's going on when the second cop physically spun me around and stuck his hands in my pocket, taking everything I had out. My school ID, a few coins left over from the arcade, my bus transfer. He yanked my arms tight behind my back and handcuffed me. I was in shock, totally confused and terrified. And then with some kind of kid logic, I thought, wait, is it my hair? See, my family didn't have money for regular haircuts back then, so I would always cut my own hair. And as you can imagine with a 12-year-old, it didn't work out so well. I would always put on the number 4 clipper and just cut it all even, to get rid of the patches. I'd be like, oh well, at least it's even, it'll grow back. But no, wait, it can't be my hair. Then they searched every pocket in my backpack, dumping out my school books, going through every little pocket. They were looking for something they couldn't find, and that's where it hit me. They stopped me because of what I look like. They think I'm some kind of criminal, and I can't believe they're doing this. What if they take me to jail and my dad has to come get me? Will he need an ID? And I'm thinking, can they deport my dad? The cops pushed me down, grabbed my student ID, and went back into their car, leaving me on the street handcuffed. And it took about 20 minutes for them to run my ID through some database. And while I sat on that curb, all these cars were going by with people looking at me, pointing at me like I stole something or I robbed somebody. They assumed the cops were making the city safer for them, stopping a thief. And I wanted to get up and yell, stop! I didn't do anything! I'm innocent! I'm the victim here! I didn't do anything! And it's hard for me to explain to you even now how humiliated and ashamed I felt sitting there in handcuffs with everybody pointing at me like I was some criminal. Finally, the cops came out of their car, threw my stuff in my backpack, and uncuffed me. One of them handed me my student ID and said the most ironic thing I've ever heard. Stay out of trouble. No apology, nothing. When all along I was in the trouble they were. I remember it took me a while to pull myself together to even figure out which way was home. But I did make it home. And like many other days, there was no one there. No one I could talk to. Instinctively, I grabbed my soccer ball and I went to an elementary school that was nearby. It didn't have a soccer field, but it had a baseball cage where I would often practice my soccer shots. I remember staying there till evening, just kicking the soccer ball over and over and over and over against that metal cage until my foot couldn't take the pain anymore. I often wonder how many other brown and black kids go through this stuff. Pulled over, harassed by police, with no way to channel their fear, anger, humiliation. How many of those kids are undocumented and have no family at home? No shoulder to cry on. No soccer ball. And you see, I'm a man now, right? And I'm watching another man, our president, tell the citizens of this country that Mexicans are criminals. If you're undocumented, you must be in a dangerous gang, a murderer, a rapist. So can I be safe walking home from my job at the library when more and more Americans view me as a threat? Better yet, is my 9-year-old son gonna look like a bad kid to a couple of cops? Will my neighbors see me for who I am? A young father hurrying to pick up his son from school so that he doesn't have to step into an empty house. Or am I their worst nightmare, like some invader, some zombie that must be stopped? And the crazy thing is that this beautiful brown color you see here is a beautiful dark tone I inherited from my grandfather. And let me tell you, my grandfather is the best man I've ever known. No matter how poor he was, he would always house and feed people. And before he turned to religion, he was so patriotic, he would stand up when the national anthem was just played on the radio. And he loved his grandkids so much. He'd wake up early and walk miles to a place in Mexico that would give out free milk at 5 in the morning, so that despite our poverty, we had what we needed to grow strong. Across that invisible border, my grandfather is the person I've missed the most. But because I'm undocumented, I never got a chance to go back and see him before he passed away. So I want you to do something for me. So when you see someone with this beautiful brown skin walking down the street, I hope you think of my strong, kind-hearted Mexican grandfather. And I hope you think of me. And I hope you think of my beautiful son and help me to keep him safe. Thank you.